Beloved, welcome back to the shop. In today's video, I'm going to show you all of my cordless Milwaukee tools. I'm going to rate them, why I bought them, and would I buy them again. First off, why did I buy a whole new set of tools when I had everything you could possibly imagine? Well, I need to have two sets. Between Jack and my manservant, Jariah, we work at different projects, and he needs his own quad, he needs his own tools, so a lot of the old stuff that I had went to them, and I had to have my own set so we're not constantly fighting and sharing and looking for stuff. So let's get into it. When a guy's trying to decide where you should start, what company should you go with? Should you go with Makita, with DeWalt, with Hilti, with Milwaukee? Those tools are all good. A lot of the pros will say that Hilti's the best, but really Hilti is not for pro-ho. Hilti is going to be very expensive, definitely high quality, but really geared towards the professional or industrial user. I think for pro-ho, the M12 and M18 batteries options, the tools that Milwaukee is offering are just absolutely extraordinary and very innovative. So I probably have more M12 stuff than I do M18 because bigger is not always better. I mean, the manufacturers are always going power, and bigger and more foot-pounds of torque, but you don't need all of that. If you work on motorcycles, lawnmowers, the M12 stuff is much, much nicer to use and much more compact and gets in a lot different areas. However, the batteries don't last very long. It doesn't have tremendous power, and there's just some situations where it's just not at all appropriate. That's when you go with the 18, the big battery. So you're gonna see a mix of that. So let's start it off. M12, this is the little M12 air compressor. I'm gonna rate these things on, I would definitely buy again, maybe, or definitely not. There's going to be a 3-tier system. But this little air compressor I thought was silly. This has been a workhorse. This has been a wonderful compressor. It will pump up truck tires. It will pump up motorcycle tires. 100 PSI is no problem. You can turn it on and you can set the pressure up to what you want and leave it alone. This is an absolute, definitely a buy over. This is the M12 right angle grinder buffer. When you pair this with a small roll lock attachment, and this is a roll lock attachment right here, these, you can get sanding discs, you can get buffers. This is an absolute buy again. This is one of my top tools and very, very useful for polishing, grinding, cleaning, small stuff, but very, very handy. An absolute buy over. This is a shop light. This is the first of the M18 tools, the bigger ones. What's nice about this is you get long run times and you get something that will sit flat. So this is what I'll grab if I'm going to be changing oil or working underneath of a car on a creeper because it lasts forever, it's very bright, and it's got a good hook system. If you've got your hood open, it's really cleverly made. It's got dual hooks actually. So if you want to hang it like from your latch on your hood and illuminate straight down, this is a good one. This is definitely a buy over. I know Milwaukee has a whole bunch of different light options, and I don't know if this is still the best one, but it is for me. I like it. This is the M18 is definitely a do-over. M18 angle grinder. Oh yeah. This is definitely a buy over. This is a tool that I bought recently and we haven't stopped using it. If you need to cut into a door, you need to cut a padlock open, if you need to grind, you need to polish, especially if you have a large property and you may need to drive over here or drive over there and you don't want to deal with extension cords. I mean, I have 4 corded grinders and I haven't touched one since I got this. Excellent, excellent tool. I would definitely buy this one over. We'll also show what batteries I have, and we'll do that at the end. The impacts. I have both. This is the M12. The little guys, the 12 volts. They have larger batteries. This is a 4.0. You can see it's got the base on it, which is kind of nice because they will stand up. And that's an important thing for me. But also you can put the little ones in if you want something really compact. But these things hit really hard. This is going to pretty much pull everything you could possibly pull off of a motorcycle. I'm going to say it's a little bit too small for automotive, but this year they've got one that has like double the power from the M12. So do you need it? I don't need it. So is this a buy over or definitely? No, it's not. I like it, but I don't use it that often. I just don't use it that often. One I do use often, this is the M18 jigsaw. This was the last, really the last of my corded tools that I replaced. I had a Makita corded jigsaw, and when I would go to work on projects, I would have to bring an extension cord, i.e. a generator, just to run that one tool over and over again. So I finally bit the bullet, and this is the jigsaw. This is an excellent, excellent tool, and a 100% buy over. The M18 jigsaw. 1/4-inch drive ratchet in the M12. I bought this for my dad for Christmas years ago, and when he passed away, you know, some of his things came back into my possession. I have never used it once. Would I buy it over again? Would I use it? No, never. I like to use hand tools. I'm going to grab a ratchet. I'm not working for production. If I was a line mechanic working flat rate, of course I'd have all this stuff, but I'm just not in any hurry. And to be honest with you, I'm becoming more noise intolerant the older I get. I just don't like listening to these loud tools rattle on. It just destroys my peace. This is the last, I think this is the last tool that I bought right here. This is the M12 pin nailer. What a tool. Brad nailer, yeah, pin nailer. Excellent design, excellent quality. I have a full array of pin nailers, framing nailers, coiling nailers, all of that. You know, my dad was a general contractor. I had some myself. I inherited some of his things. But to be honest with you, I have the cordless nailers now. I'm not using those old air hose nailers anymore. It's just no need for it. But this is a wonderful tool because it's so compact, and it gives you an extra hand. When you're trying to line stuff up, you can put a small pin in there. It's almost unnoticeable, and it just is a very, very handy tool. A little bit niche. Would I buy it over again? I would. I just bought it, so I know I would. I've used it quite a bit. This is the M18 heat gun. Ooh, I'm always using a heat gun, primarily for removing decals, stickers, heating things up, shrink taping, doing electrical work. I mean, melting ice in the wintertime. You'll be surprised how often you use this. You may have one that's tethered to a cord that you don't use outside your bench, but you get one of these and you'll use it all the time, especially if you live in a colder climate. But the M18 heat gun, definitely a buy over. This is one I haven't used yet. And this is an oscillating tool. This is what I would call for the carpenter, this is your get out of jail free card. Now this receives the blades. I probably don't have them here. If you don't know what an oscillating tool is, you might want to look into it. It vibrates and it has different blades where you can get in and really hard to get places. You can cut plastic, metal, steel. Again, I haven't used it. My Makita went over to Mr. Jiraiya, so this is my replacement, but I have no doubt that it'll be as good as anything else. You know, of course, Milwaukee doesn't typically make junk, but oscillating tool. Would I buy it over again? Yeah. When you need it, you definitely need it. We have an impact stubby, 1/4-inch drive to receive the bits. I like to have 2 or 3 of these because when I'm working on different jobs, I don't want to be changing bits. If I'm running like a T25 Torx and I need a 1/8-inch drill bit for pre-drilling and I need a 5/16 nut driver, I'm just going to just have separate bits for all of these. This is the M18, so the big one, which I think, you know, having the big battery, I just have not found it necessary. I much prefer the little M12. You can see, just better form factor, easier to use on smaller things. But would I buy these again? This one first and this one second, but 100%. I have several of these. Here's another one. So this is a match set. So these are 2 of my favorites right here. These are excellent tools, well designed. I like the clip, and they're small enough to fit in your tool belt into a pocket. And I find them to be probably among my favorite Milwaukee tools. Now, they are noisy. I don't like using them without hearing protection. And I often use drills when I'm driving screws in just for that very reason. This is the little M12 drill. This is an excellent, excellent tool as well. These guys right here are kind of a combo. That's why they sell them in kits, because they're so handy. Where would I start with Milwaukee tools? or any tool, I'd probably start with this driver combo right here. The 1/4 inch impact and the 1/4 inch drill, and in the M12. If you're just basic pro hoe getting started, this is probably where I'd probably start. We've got my bigger impact. This is the M18, which is kind of the big brother. No, that's where's the impact there? Didn't we have it out? Am I losing my mind? Well, there it is, standing up. This is the big brother to the M12, 12 volt, 18 volt. This one's what I'm going to use on my truck for breaking lug nuts and such. It has the power to do that. This little one I'm going to use on motorcycle and smaller things. Would I buy them again? I probably wouldn't buy this one. I would just buy the big one. I would get the M18 stubby impact so you can get into tight areas. It's a fantastic tool. So probably not, probably yes. We have, now this is the M12 stick light. I actually prefer this one. Of the two, when I want to go look around for something or going to be in a dark area, I like the shape of this one. It has a very clever hook. It's very small and it slides, so it'll balance itself with the big battery, I think it is. I don't remember. Yeah, there we go. So you can hang that from the hood. It will illuminate down. It has just simple switch. A great trouble light, very good trouble light. If I was could only have one of the two, I would prefer this one because it's just so much smaller. You can put it in a pocket, you can throw it in your tool belt, and yeah, not as much adjustability, but I think it's just handier. I prefer it. I definitely prefer it. And then we have, we have the big drill. This would be the 18 volt. You need to have a big, powerful drill. I think that you need to, if I was going to just buy one and I needed to do everything, I would buy the 18 volt. And for a second drill, I would buy the 12. But both of these, I would do over for certain, because you're going to need a big drill. You need to start driving big augers and such. It's important. This is something that was accidentally picked up. This is kind of a family tool. When Jack attended some community college classes, my son, this year, he wanted to brush up on a few things. So he took a construction class, and in that construction class, there was an opportunity to sign up for a scholarship for the whole class that Metallica, the band, offered. It was $1,000, I believe. They could buy any tools that they wanted at Home Depot to start their construction career. So he called me up. It's like, hey, I got $1,000 to spend at Home Depot. What should I get? And so I said, well, you should get Milwaukee tools. And I gave him a list of things to do. And I said, you should get a compressor. Well, what I meant to tell him was to get the big M18, the large version of the air compressor. I said, that'll be handy for you. You'll be able to inflate tires and such. Well, he accidentally got the construction compressor, and I thought, well, we could return it, and then I just basically told him, I said, I'll tell you what, I think I've been using it and I find it very handy. I'll just buy it from you, and then you can go buy yourself something that's more appropriate for getting started. But the compressor is very good. I'm surprised how often I use it, and I use it when I need to blow stuff off, basically cleaning. Working around the log home and being able to blow off the workspace and chips, inflator, but whatever, just to have a good reliable air compressor that's off grid, that doesn't need any power, it's handier than you would think. And then finally, my final tool is among my favorites. It has really changed my life, is the new Milwaukee track saw. I would venture to say that, well, since I've had this, I've built cabinet level work with my lockers, lots of different things, been working on the cabin. I have not used a table saw near as much. I don't think maybe at all. This is basically a cabinet shop in one saw. You can do precise work. You don't need to have a table shop if you want to be, or table shop, a table saw if you want to be more mobile and have options. This is a wonderful tool, and I'm just figuring out how to use it. I don't think I've completely explored how useful this is, but I'm very excited to have this. This is one of my favorite tools. It's amazing the precision that you can do. All right, let me lay out my batteries here. I don't have a ton of batteries. They're so darn expensive. It's hard to buy them, but Some guys say you should have a battery for every tool. That's probably a good idea. I don't think that I have that, but I have enough. I think this is all of them. This is my biggest one. So this is the 6. I've got these, think these are 4s. Those are 5s, 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 and a little one. I don't know what that is. And then these are 4s for the 12 volts. There's a 2 6s, and then a bunch of little guys. I think that's, yeah, I think that is the extent of the batteries. I do believe that is it for my current collection. I've got a Sidewinder. This is jigsaw. I do not like this East Coast style with the blade on the wrong side. I don't use it. I'm going to use my DeWalt cordless because it's got the blade on the proper side for a West Coast man. So in closing, would I buy Milwaukee again? If it all burnt down and the insurance cut me a check and I go out and I was going to buy my own tools, whatever I wanted, what brand would I buy? I would buy Milwaukee. Now, fun fact, take it for what it's worth. There's a company in Portland that my dad worked with and I've worked with my whole life called the Charles Day Company. And they are a company that sells high-end tools, and they also have a full repair shop. They can repair anything. They got a bunch of dudes in there and they know tools. So I go in there if I don't really know what I want, if I want to get good advice. So I'll go in there. So I went in there when I made my track saw purchase, because that's a big one. You know, you get into close to $1,000 by the time you buy batteries and tracks and some accessories. And they have everything there. DeWalt, Makita, Hilti, everything. And I asked them, you know, who makes the best tool? And the techs that I talked to, you know, he said, well, if I had to buy what we see to be the best designed as a whole. Now, everybody's got stinkers, you know, in their lineup. Some's got good, some's got bad, right? But what he told me is Milwaukee and Makita are currently making the best tools. And I think that that's probably good advice. If you were to go to either one, you would be very happy. That's kind of what I would steer you to. Either one is going to be a great tool. I love both companies. That's it. May God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you all on the next video.